All right, now welcome to exercise 1 of lesson 17. Here's what we're asked to do. We're going to create a variable called age. We'll give it a value of 35. We'll use some if statements to do the following. If the age is greater than or equal to 30, then we will output the following text using separate print line statements. And if the age is less than 30, then we'll output this nice bit of poetry here. And then we're going to rerun the program several times at different ages just to make sure that the different if statements are triggering properly. And so here's what I did. Your code might, of course, look a little different. Here is our class definition for this Java file, and then here's our main method. We have an integer called age. We set it equal to 35. And here we are using our if statement. Now we have a block here that's defined by the opening curly and the closing curly. So everything inside of these brackets will be executed when the age is greater than or equal to 30. So we're outputting this text, another line, this text, another line, this text, and so on. Now if the age is less than 30, then we'll output this text, and everything's on a separate line. So you see how it's required to have the if statements containing a block, because here we're outputting different lines of text with different statements. So we need to kind of contain this, and this tells Java everything in here is done when this if is true. Everything done in between these two brackets are done if this is true. All right, so let's go ahead, and this is already saved, so we'll go ahead and run it. And the age variable is set to 35. And so here it says, oh no, I'm older than 30 years old. I may be a little older, but I'm definitely a little wiser. And so you can see that this if right here, this evaluated to true because the age was greater than or equal to 30. So everything within this block has executed. Notice that the way the code works is it assigns the age of 35. This if is executed because it evaluated to true. Then the code goes down here and it tries to see if this is true. Of course, the age is not less than 30, and so it just skips over this if, and that's the end of the program. It all just stops at that point. So the way I've got it set up is one or the other of these if statements is going to execute, but not both, because there's no way you could satisfy both of them at the same time. All right, so per the example, let's go up. It says evaluated at 35, 25, and 30. So let's go ahead and set this equal to 25, like this, and we'll hit run. And when it's 25, notice we skip over the first if because it's no longer true, and we execute only the second if. Roses are red, violets are blue, I'm less than 30, and I like kung fu. All true statements, right? So you can see how we bounce through here. Again, we need the curly braces to define the block of code that's going to execute when this if evaluates to true. All right, and finally, it says let's execute this guy when it's equal to 30 exactly. So here we go. We'll just put 30 in here. I'll save it, and I'll execute the code again. And you can see that the first if statement is triggered because here I say if age is greater than or equal to 30. That means this guy is true. This one says if it's less than 30. Well, if the age is 30, it certainly can't be less than 30. So the bottom line is in this case, this if is valid, and this if evaluates to false. So it's not executed. These are very simple examples, just mainly illustrating and giving you practice with how to set up if statements that have blocks of code, but anything could be inside of this if statement. You could have a for loop in here. You could have variables and calculations, and for more complicated programs you might be drawing something on the screen in certain if conditions. This is just simply showing you how the ifs work and how you define them in terms of blocks. A block in Java is used with an opening curly brace and a closing curly brace, and you'll see that over and over again for if statements, for loops, and other constructs as we move on into the future.